You know, like I was saying, you know, for the Akim and the truth, pushing his word, we move by fear. Their fear drives us to go out on the highways and the byways every week out there in the cold, whether it's hot, cold, cool, raining, snowing. It really doesn't matter. Shit, we got to, I mean, Yahweh Shai, he didn't take no days off. And the only good thing about nowadays is we not people not trying to kill us when we go out on the streets. Back then, in the ancient days, they could have easily came to us and lynched us or stoned us or burned us or some shit. So you know, back in the time when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, he was putting that work in regardless. You know, because he had a task. He had a task he had to complete. He had a job he had to complete. He completed it. And for us, the Akim and the truth, we have a job and we have to complete it. And if we don't complete it, it's curtains for us. We dead. And we go be shamefaced in the kingdom, because when we in the kingdom and we see the prophets and the 144,000, if we see the 1/3 and 144,000 prophets, and they'll go be all above us, glorified, having all the finest things, they all righteous men. And for you niggas that fell out, you gonna be real shamefaced, because you gonna be like, damn, that could have been me. But no, I didn't want to stay in the fight. I wanted to give up.
Yeah, I got a precept. This is Luke 12:47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Yes. So in other words, if you know your Lord's will, you do that will to the best of your capability. Alright, yes, we're going to be chastised, but the more we get chastised, the more we know that the Lord loves us and that we're men of the Lord, because only a father would discipline his child. If he not gonna discipline you, he pretty much just gonna let you grow up to be shit and let you grow up to be thinking you gonna do what you want to. But the Lord chastised us so he could whip us in line. No, don't do this. Don't do that. You go do this. You go do what I say. Because his will is in them scriptures. If for them ignorant niggas and nigga women in churches, in these churches, they don't know shit, because they so called in these churches every single week, but don't know a goddamn thing in the Bible. Don't know shit. Me and this brother was just speaking earlier about the scripture in Corinthians about how the woman's supposed to cover her head when she pray and when she prophesies. She's supposed to keep her head covered, period. And how men is supposed to have his head uncovered when he prays or when he prophesies. So say if me and him were sitting right now doing this video and we had our heads covered, we would be dishonoring our heads, because us as being men, we show the glory of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. We in his image, and we gotta put this work in. What was another one?
Yeah, this right here. Oh no, what you said? You said women can't get women having no understanding. This is Job 39:17. Because Yahweh hath deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding.
Yes, Yahweh Shai deprived the woman of wisdom, and she does not have no understanding. It's like, tell you the truth, it's impossible for a woman to believe everything in the scriptures. You can't go to a woman and tell her the white man going into slavery. You can't go to a woman and tell her that martial law is about to come into effect. You can't tell a woman. Matter of fact, some women might believe that the chip might be the mark of the beast, but you know it's kind of simple. But you know, even simple things women can't understand. You can't tell a woman that she dishonored her head if her head is uncovered. She will look at you like you crazy, or say that, oh, that's back then. That doesn't apply to things now.
Here I got a precept. This is 1 Corinthians 11:5. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
Yes. And that scripture is so straightforward, it's so simple, and it just tells you straightforward. It really doesn't take much thinking. It just explains to you that the woman is for the man and the man's not for the woman. A man is supposed to have his head uncovered and the woman is supposed to have her head covered. But you can't show that scripture to these churches because that shit go fly right over their goddamn head because they got that spirit of slumber on them, and they just not go understand, even though that scripture is so simple. Which is why for the Akim and its truth, we are truly blessed because we can actually understand these scripts, and when they get broken down to us, we eat it up, we drink it. You know, it don't just go on one ear and out the other. We actually take heed to it. You know, and it sticks with us, and it pretty much it keeps us. It puts some act right in us. But you know, truthfully, when you come into this truth, that's when the real knowledge and the real money begins. Because this truth don't only tell you the truth. It helps you with words. Like you really become more intelligent as you get into this truth because it leads you to doing more research. It leads you to looking up definitions of words. It even makes you start using bigger words.
Here, got a precept. This is Proverbs 1:8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father. And what's the instruction? This word, like his brother said. You know, this truth is your instruction. You know, it teaches you. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother.
Yes. Hear the instruction. Matter of fact, edify him on the DNA. How the DNA instructs you to do your functions or whatever at your everyday life.
Well, me and my brother Yasharon, he got into the movie too later on, but we was watching this movie called The God of Wonders, and in that movie, we was learning about DNA, how each single tiny blood cell of DNA contains knowledge, which basically could stack from the ground of the earth up to the heavens. And within each little DNA contains instructions on how, which basically tells your body how to function. Just like, you have some DNAs, some DNAs tell your bones how long they should grow according to your body. Some DNAs tells your heart how quick it shall pump or how quick it should not pump. Some DNAs, tells your body how far it should grow out before reaching its limit. So DNA within itself contains a form of instruction or knowledge, which basically tells your body how to function.
And him saying that pretty much shows that every person on this planet Earth has their own temple, which has their own DNA, and each temple, which everyone has their own instruction.
That's right.
Like every Akim in the truth, pushing this truth, our temple's got the DNA, which instructs us to push this word because the Lord created us and He already knew who we were and what we was gonna do before we was even created in the womb. So that just shows we was instructed to do what we're doing now before we knew we was instructed to do it.
That's right.
Is there anything else?
Yeah. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck.
Yeah, and that pretty much says that right there. That's pretty much straightforward right there too. Cause you know us getting this truth. It's okay. The elders, they have a lot of work on their hands. It's their job to pretty much lead us into the right path. You know, every man is their own man, but for us being in the truth, we're all one body, which is why everyone has to be on one accord and on the same page. Because if everyone's not on the same page, it's pretty much cancer within the body. You know, which is why the Lord sifts brothers out or people out, because He see this not in with the mix right here. You know, it's they going against the flow. So truthfully, for them brothers that have fallen out, which they not brothers no more, but for those men that have fallen out the truth, you got sifted out. You wasn't for this. But the simple fact is that you was in the truth and that you fell out, you still gonna get fucked up. Because Esau was made to be the devil, but guess what? He still gonna get paid for his actions.
That's right.
He might have not wanted to be the devil. He might ask for forgiveness, but that's not gonna save him. He's still gonna be fucked up in the end of the day. Just like for them brothers that fell the truth, the Lord knew you was gonna fall out, but guess what? You still was in this truth and you still fell out. Guess what? You still gonna get fucked up. You know? You got any more?
Yeah, Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You know, going into, you know, like you said, you know, the so-called white man has a lot to pay for. You know, and that kind of gets you to think about karma. You know, what comes around goes around.
Yeah, like you said, what comes around goes around. The white man want to put people in slavery. He want to have genocide, have Israelites walking cross country and shit barefooted in wintertime, not feeding them or giving them water, letting them die off, giving them diseases, killing them, raping the women. Oh, you want to do all that and then think everything gonna be all good. Nah. I don't care how long ago it was. You still did it. Just like for these 2/3 now, all that wickedness they done in the ancient time, being idolaters and being rebellious and doing all the wickedness they did, which they still doing now to this day, they still will get paid for that. That fire hasn't come yet.
Yeah, I got a precept to that too. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, save the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
Yes, destruction to those rebellious children. They taking covetousness and they not covering themselves with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. They covering themselves with other gods or with the wickedness that they committing throughout their lives. Witchcraft, like people committing witchcraft and other wicked deeds without even knowing they're doing it. But I guess I would say it's in their DNA to do so, because they was fucking up from the get go. They was never in this truth in the past. I mean, it's a good possibility that all the Akim pushing this word right now was in the truth back then too, because you just can't become a righteous spirit overnight.
Yeah, and you know, like Yahweh said, you know, you have chosen me, but I have chosen you.
So like you just said, we was chosen. We was chosen from day one.
You know, Lord willing.
Lord's willing. We were chosen from day one. Lord's willing.
Con.
All right, and Lord's willing for all you Akim out there will stay in this truth until the end. Keep the faith, keep the strength, keep the hope. You know? Because at the end of the day, you got to keep that faith, that hope, and that strength until the end. Until your clock is punched out. Till that spirit leave this body, or until you beamed up into them chariots.
Yeah, you know, and what did Paul say? You know, endure hardness as a good soldier for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai.
So when you start this race, you gotta finish it.